Hey guys, so by now you've probably digested the second tumultuous press conference from New Jeans creator Min Hee-jin in her ongoing battle and feud with HYBE, the parent company of BTS. And on the same day, even though she said that she hates the media and she's not a media person, she doesn't like to be in the spotlight, she immediately went to KBS, the nation's most emblematic broadcaster, to do an exclusive interview. And it looked like she didn't have enough from the press conference. She wanted to go to KBS for dessert, and she thought she ate, but all the pies were sold out. And I think there are more examples of media manipulation, media play, media ploy, however you want to say it, coming from Min Hee-jin's side, even though she keeps continuously accusing HYBE of running media plays. And so I just wanted to break down the KBS interview so that you guys can see what she talked about that might have added or subtracted, been edited, or differed from her press conference, and how it seems as if the KBS situation could be a place where it looks like there was something going on, okay? I'll just leave it at something. Now, if you look for this interview on YouTube, most likely you'll see about a 5 to 5.5 minute clip that was heavily edited down. And this interview happened on KBS News 9, which is the main nightly news program for KBS, and at one time was like the main news show for the entire nation of Korea. But it was very obvious that YouTube version, that's 5.5 minutes, definitely edited. But even the one that went out on the live broadcast, because it's a live news program at 9 p.m., even that seemed to be pre-taped and edited. And I'm not saying that is media manipulation in and of itself. Coming from 15 years of experience in the Korean news industry, even in a live news broadcast, there are segments that are taped, and especially with a long interview like this that can go all sorts of places, and with a lot of stakeholders involved, a lot of times you will do a pre-tape on the same day. So they'll come before, and most likely she did it before because why? On the same day, New Jeans was on the Music Bank show and won the top prize on that day. Was there sort of a horse trading going on for an exclusive interview for the Music Bank? We don't know that for sure. And I have thoughts on that later. And how does this all work out, though? Very quickly and like in a system that heavily favors Min Hee-jin. Are there agencies or firms or strategy consulting, basically like a place where you can pay, where all of this can come about? Yes, they do definitely exist in Korea. Has Min Hee-jin's side been accused of using that from the beginning and actually having it be part of her plot to do all of the media smear campaigns? Yes. She has been accused of that, and I think that's for HYBE to investigate to see where the money trail leads. But I have more thoughts on that later. But if we're looking at the KBS interview, the one that I think went out on the actual broadcast was also edited, and it was also sloppily edited. The one that went out on YouTube, extremely sloppily edited, and the questions didn't match the answers. Like, I don't know who did that editing, post it. It wasn't a true reflection of the actual interview. So if you want to say that's okay, let's just look at it from her perspective, like from the bunny side. Like if the roles were reversed, they would be leading headlines of like KBS manipulates interview, blah blah blah. So it was definitely edited in a very weird way. And yes, I have worked at KBS. Yes, I do know the inner workings of KBS. News 9, no, but is this somewhat normal? Yes. Is it a little bit odd in this situation? Also, yes. So I'm trying to be fair here, and I think the interviewer himself, the anchor there, gave a somewhat fair, I would call it fair interview. Like, he did ask some of the tough questions. It's more about like what happened afterwards, and especially when you release the YouTube version, it's usually the full length or even longer. So time in studio, I bet they had a minimum of 30 minutes, maybe even like the way that she's trying to like, could have been closer way to like an hour. But what went out was about 10 minutes. And then what went out on YouTube, 5.5 minutes. You can see, I'll put the link for what it looks like is the full version of about 10 minutes, but it's on like this loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop-de like repeat live thing by KBS's YouTube channel that goes on for like 11 hours. But the actual interview about 10 minutes. So that kind of concerns me already, because it looked like somebody had pressured and said like, okay, take this out, take this out, take this out. So the answers on the 5.5 minute are really short and don't seem to be, you can totally tell that there are cuts there. So she came out in a different outfit, on the same day. She already had a wardrobe change. I don't know whose closet she raided, because she wore this really weird checkered thing, but it's a style that you've probably seen in K-dramas for like, mothers who are just ordinary and hardworking and kind of beaten down by the system. Very drab color, check pattern. It's super mom look, but a little bit dated. It's not the current mom, so I don't know, but she definitely had some styling going on there. Now, the first question that she got was about her appearance. And the anchor said, your appearance was markedly different from the first press conference, your clothes, demeanor, language. And she said, during the first presser, I was in an agitated state and it was something I had to do as an emergency. And, she even said during the press conference, that was kind of because I was in such a emotional turmoil. But during the first press conference, when she was going off and like saying all this like, you MF, blah, 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 like all these curse words, she said like, this is just who I am. This is my style. So she kind of goes back and forth about like, I was just under duress. That's how I, like it was just a awkward situation. And then on the other hand, she's like, that's just who I am. That's just like my style. What did she say? I'm a ENTP. That's why. She also added that, since she won the lawsuit, she was in a much lighter mood and she was really able to say what was on her mind at the second press conference. And then she said, now that I have been cleared of all suspicions, we need a different gesture from HYBE. So you'll see from her messaging, it's continuously about how can we have HYBE have a different, more conciliatory reaction. The biggest soundbite that came up over and over again in a lot of news broadcasts, reports, not even just KBS, was that, we fought real kind of messily, and now it's time that we just end the fight. As if she gets to control it just when she, just like, now that I have not, everything on the Monopoly board, but a lot, let's just end the game and, declare me the winner. So she's trying to force HYBE into a situation where they're just going to relent. That would be the most idiotic thing for them to do at this time, and they've already said publicly that they are not going to take any sort of like false compromise. They're gonna just let all of the investigations continue to pull through in terms of the criminal aspect, so the investigators, and then also the other lawsuits that are in the works. Second question was, you're still in lawsuits and conflict with HYBE. What kind of reconciliation is possible between you two? And then she led this time in the KBS interview after the press conference, for the shareholders. Whereas in the press conference, she was just like, she was asked about shareholders. She was like, shareholders, am I supposed to? And she was like asking like her lawyer, am I supposed to, I wasn't here to talk about the shareholders. And now suddenly she realized that played well in the press conference. She's saying, for the shareholders, the fans, and for the New Jeans members, we need a fast resolution. So she's looking for a quick turnaround, a quick way for HYBE to give up and then for her to regroup. So I think HYBE knows this, and if I were HYBE, I would keep her in uncertainty. I would keep her in a way where you're sort of stringing her along, because in her world, uncertainty is her kryptonite. Because if you're always scheming and trying to hatch a plan and try to take advantage of somebody else's innocence or naivete, you know how they're going to step next. And so I think she wants to go back to that sort of situation where she knows how the other side is going to react, and she doesn't know at this time. And she even had the audacity to say that we need to take emotions out of this and consider the reality for the situation. Sweetie, who was the first person bringing all her emotions like she was singing that song from Mariah Carey? Then the anchor said, your people got fired from the board, and the new HYBE team has come in. Can you work as one team? And then she's like, oh, well, we gotta try to unite. I never worked with them before, so I don't know. Which basically means I don't know if I can manipulate them. If they work hard, we can try. What? And she said, it's unfortunate. I don't know. Things don't seem resolved. I'm doing my absolute best given the circumstances. Of course, she's doing her best given the circumstances. And she says, things don't seem resolved. The gall saying like, you guys messed it up, let's clean it up. But she keeps stressing the point that she didn't start this. So then she went on saying like, there may be things that I couldn't anticipate that make the situation flow in a different way. So again, a little bit of a Freudian slip there, saying that like, she's trying to really kind of control everything and, seem like kind of anticipate. Although on the other hand, publicly, she's always saying like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to protect my girls and protect the music. And I don't even care about the money. And then she kept going on back to herself. Oh, my style is that I give it all, and this is a situation I didn't want. And here again, this is where like the editing got a little bit wonky. So the anchor again asked like, the board has been reorganized. So can you work in this environment of, like kind of face-to-face battle and collision? And she's trying to reinterpret the dictionary. She's saying like, oh, that word, can be interpreted in a variety of different ways. And you can see the anchor, I think, was friendly and is not hostile, but even then he was smirking at her answer, being like, mm-hmm. And she said, oh, well, it has been this way for a while, but I don't think it is a collision. So what is this thing that's been here for a while? I guess if it's a collision, that's just a one-time big event. Like, what is this? Like an earthquake about to erupt, like tectonic plates just forcing themselves on each other. And then she said like, I think communications is a process, and I was just heated in the moment. Okay. Everybody can be heated in the moment. Communication is definitely a process with her. So then she was asked, HYBE is accusing you of trying to steal New Jeans from them. Is that true? And she said, no, of course, never. And then she goes back to her argument of like, it's not possible because of her 18% and HYBE's 80%. Now, again, if this were really the case, HYBE's 80% should have been able to fire her, but way last week. But she's saying that, in this situation, no matter what happens, HYBE decides everything. Which, again, look, if there is a king and there's somebody trying to sabotage the king and revolt and become the king themselves, of course they're going to say like, that's not possible. That guy's the king. It's not possible until it happens. It's not possible until there's a revolt. It's not possible until that person gathers the forces of all the other nobles and other powerful people in the country to overthrow the king. So this argument that she keeps saying doesn't really hold weight. And then she says that no matter what I were to do, HYBE would know about it. And she said, that's just the system. There's no way for me to get a foothold to take them away. That's just inconsistent with reality. Yes, that part is inconsistent with that type of reality if it were just to remain the same, but we've already had evidence saying that she wanted to change reality by basically being able to get different shareholders and then to oust HYBE's 80% dominance. So which one is inconsistent with reality? And then she said, oh, there was loss of trust on both sides. I felt betrayed by HYBE, and HYBE felt betrayed by me. So why is it suddenly both sides when you've been called out? Why is it both sides when we suddenly know what your side is really about? Because from the beginning, it's all about like HYBE is bad, HYBE is bad. And now suddenly it's both sides once everybody is starting to think, dang, she's the bad one. And here again, her trying to manipulate. She says, for me, the most important thing is who broke trust first. Obviously, from HYBE's perspective, she broke trust first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way to the 25th degree. And she is saying like, HYBE was the one that first broke trust with me. And then she went on to say, the things that I was just thinking about, essentially like all the evidence, her plot and her plotation, she said, like, I was just thinking about how to protect Ador. And then she ended that question saying, like, in reality, it's just not possible. It was impossible. Again, I would ask, like, okay, but what if it were possible? What would you have done? She'd probably be saying, sitting here with you now, so I guess nothing's changed in the schedule. Then she was asked about the effect of this management control war on New Jeans. And then she said, again, this is something I didn't start. So I don't even think it's a battle over management control. When she basically laid out her plan for management control, stealing the management control, and the battle that she would engage in. This part was edited out in the YouTube version where it's 5.5 minutes versus the YouTube version that's like 10 minutes. And then she says, but it's become an issue, so it's not going to be good for New Jeans. And then she says, oh, I don't like that expression of trying to steal them away. That's not good. And then she said again, this is why it would be good to come to a compromise quickly. So you can see the consistency of her message as if she's being coached on this. The message being like, let's get to a resolution quickly. Resolve, compromise. And then she is also now recoloring what she did with the injunction as a method for the issue to be resolved quickly. And then she says, well, everybody respected the court decision, and she had this weird smile. Then she was asked, from this experience, how do you think the K-pop system should be reformed? And then she said, oh, this can be a really long answer. Again, this was cut from the 5.5 minute version. And then she said, but instead of from the perspective of the K-pop industry, I want to look at it from the perspective of artist development and not just a cultural product, but just culture. I'm not a fan of systems. Oh my gosh, Wheel of Fortune. And then she says the system is for the workers to have a more comfortable working environment, but that leads to a factory-like environment with all the processes and protocol, and it leads to a mass production type of system for K-pop. And then she says, but we also need systems too at the same time, so it concerns me how the two can coexist together. So again, she's trying to take a position that, she was acting outside of systems and protocol for the benefit of the artist, not the benefit of her pocket, not the benefit of her stealing New Jeans and a company, but the benefit of artistic development. And here it seems as if the interview ended because the anchor said, 네, 감사합니다. And then it was weird because then it was then cut to another question, even in the longer version. So it looked like some publicist or somebody, piped in and said like, no, you have to ask a question again about New Jeans, and we have to make sure we get in that part about promoting their next activities, because the next question again was like almost a repeat, like what's the effect on New Jeans? And then she said, well, the things that are already in progress will go on. In June, we'll release a new single in Japan and also have the Tokyo Dome event. But after that, I don't know. The board meeting just happened, so we have to wait and see. And then you can see the anchor hearing, he's like, nah, 알겠습니다, not like as if he was, responding to the producer talking into his ear. And then they went to a very awkward, it looked like a reshot goodbye. So that was essentially like the KBS interview, and I think they really distilled it down to try to say like, HYBE, please come to a quick compromise. And now that HYBE, I think, knows this, that's the opposite, I think, of what they're going to do. They're going to probably do a very slow meeting of the minds and drag it out as long as possible and keep her in a state of uncertainty, because HYBE has so many options that they can take at simultaneous formats to make her life a living hell. So she's basically now not going to be able to have a very focused way of waging battle and war, which has been her advantage up until this point, because she could anticipate and read what HYBE would do and how they would react, because they did not expect her to be this devious and, in Chairman Pang's words, malicious. So what do you guys think? Put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.